Imagine building a business for years. You're pouring your heart and soul into the business and your savings, personal assets into it. Then one day, a single mistake, an accident happens. For a sole proprietor, that single event can lead to a total financial collapse. You could lose everything, not just in your business, but in your personal life as well. Your savings, your home, even your retirement accounts. But it does not have to be this way. I'm Jonathan Finiak. I'm the lead attorney at LLCattorney.com. And today I am going to show you the dramatic difference between a sole proprietorship and an LLC and how a simple legal structure could have protected everything. LLCattorney.com is not a law firm, but myself and other attorneys have designed these videos to help you protect yourself from the terrible situations we've seen in the past. Before we dive into this, let's get a basic understanding. Right now, if you're operating a business without a formal state-authorized legal structure, you're automatically a sole proprietor in the eyes of the law. And that means there's absolutely no separation between yourself and the company. You may have a DBA or have filed for a trade name, but that's not a legal entity. That is just you. That's your nickname, how you're holding yourself out to the public. That single fact that you're operating the business without the legal structure makes you a sole proprietorship. Most dangerous business structure that exists, in my opinion. Yet there's 28.4 million Americans who are currently operating a business in this way, and most without understanding the risks that they face. If you own a business or are thinking of starting one, this might be the most important video you'll ever watch. Let's consider a scenario where you're involved in e-commerce. You got an online store, you're selling specialty fitness products, and imagine you're bringing in $300,000 a year in revenue. You're like, it's an online business. I'll just do it all in my personal name. You source the products for manufacturers. You sell them through the website and online marketplaces. Now, what happens if a customer is injured while using your products? Well, the manufacturers maybe made a design error that caused the product to break during normal use, resulting in an injury. The customer will sue everybody. Ultimately, the responsibility may be the responsibility of the manufacturer, but good luck if that manufacturer is outside the United States, or maybe the distributor that you bought it from who's located in the United States. But at the end of the day, in almost all situations, the company that sold the product is going to be named. And there could be significant liability, tens of thousands, let's say $40,000 in potential claims against your business. Well, those plaintiffs, those people who are suing, may not be able to collect from other people involved, such as the manufacturer. And there's something called joint and several liability, meaning everyone's responsible for the injuries and therefore everyone must pay. If you're easy to get to, which if you're an individual, you would be, then that customer can go right after your assets. You would be personally liable for the judgment and the court would order you to pay. The whole amount, including legal fees, could potentially fall on your shoulders. And in this situation, you might have to sell your house to satisfy the claim. You might have to give up all your inventory. It would almost certainly put you out of business. But with an LLC, your personal assets would have been shielded from these kinds of claims. You can't avoid the liability, but you can limit the liability to the assets that are inside of your company. Granted, it could be ruinous for your company, but you would have hopefully saved enough, had enough assets outside the company to go on to fight another day, to start a new business, and those personal assets would remain intact. Hugely important to have business insurance, okay? It's not a replacement for the legal protections provided by an LLC, but many of these policies you can't even get if you're operating as a sole proprietorship. You need to have the business in the first place in order to get that insurance. So we like to view the insurance and the LLC as a belt and suspenders approach. You've got an LLC, that's the belt. Throw some insurance on, that's your suspenders. And if something does go wrong, hopefully you've got enough insurance to be able to continue the business. But if you don't, you're going to limit that liability to just the assets inside the LLC. These scenarios really illustrate this fundamental difference between operating as a sole proprietor and operating as an LLC with a liability shield. When you operate as a sole proprietor, even if you have a trade name or have filed for a DBA, those are not legal entities. You and your business are considered the same. That means that business debts, lawsuits, judgments, whatever may come for the business is going to directly impact your personal savings, your home, your vehicles, retirement accounts, future wages, inheritance, maybe anything. To contrast, an LLC separates yourself from your business. You're creating a separate legal entity that will bear the brunt of those business liabilities. So with an LLC, business liabilities are generally going to stop at the business. If your business can't satisfy that debt or the judgment, creditors and plaintiffs typically, if you do it right and you're compliant, can't reach your personal assets. There are some exceptions, but the basic liability shield of an LLC is what makes it so essential for business owners. Business insurance is important, but it has serious limitations. It's the belt and suspenders approach. Policies have coverage limits, there's exclusions. Insurance companies are in business by not paying claims. They try to figure out ways not to pay claims. And then there's things that could happen that are outside of the coverage. So insurance is the second line of defense. It's not your only protection. Your LLC is the protection. It's a belt and suspenders approach. LLCs are not expensive and complicated. The cost to form an LLC could be $500 to $50, as low as $50, depending on the state fees. There's annual maintenance fees involved and the like, but compared to the potential loss, everything you own, this is incredibly inexpensive. Without an LLC, you're effectively going all chips in every time you enter into a new contract or every time you interact with a new customer. And then as for additional complexity, basic LLCs are simple to maintain, especially if it's a single owner business and especially through the LLCattorney.com client portal. The paperwork involved is really minimal compared to corporations, and you're going to get everything you need, including that operating agreement, including the ability to do meeting minutes, annual meeting minutes, and everything you need to be compliant. You're going to be able to do it really easily inside the LLC Attorney client portal. Properly maintained LLCs really provide fantastic, inexpensive protection from the most common business risks you would face. How do you protect yourself, though, and your business? Watch the next video about how to actually form an LLC and do it right.